One of the first rituals of Hajj is something called Tawaf. This is the circumambulation of the Kaaba, and it's going round in complete circles around the Kaaba. And we need to start at a particular point, and it is the corner where the black stone is situated along that line, and we have to go around in an anti-clockwise direction, a complete 360 degrees, for a full 7 circles. It's the complete of the first 7 circles that is called the Tawaf. The question now is, as we go around the Kaaba, what do we think about? What do we do? Do we just keep silent? Do we recite anything? Or do we just have our own thoughts? And in fact, there is no written rule as to what we need to do as we do the Tawaf, the circumambulation. We could just be silent as we go around. We could have our own thoughts, or we could even do recitations. It could be Quran, it could be dua, it could be tasbih. And particularly, it doesn't have to be in Arabic. It could be in any language that I'm comfortable in communicating with my Creator. So as we go around in circles, it's interesting that circles itself has 7 letters. C, I, R, C, L, E, S. And we have to go around the Kaaba for a complete Tawaf to do the 7 circles. So for each round we go, we will look at this letter and see what we think or recite as we go around the Kaaba. The first C is for calling. And here I'll be calling to Allah. He has 99 famous attributes. And as I go around, and each round may take a short time, it may take a long time. Remember, there will be hundreds and thousands of people simultaneously going around with me during the time of Hajj. So when I'm calling out to him of those 99 attributes, I could be thinking, for example, of his majesty, of his generosity, of his purity. Or I can think of he is the creator, the protector, and the sustainer. Or I can think of his all-knowing, all-seeing, and all-hearing. But the 2 most famous attributes is that he is Rahman, he is Rahim. His forgiveness and his extra mercy are the 2 attributes that I'll be calling out to him in that first round. In the second round of the circle is I, identifying. As I go around, I'll be identifying my past transgression, my past sins. Over the years, there have been plenty. And as I go around, I will be looking at my lowly level and his majestic stature. And 2 beautiful du'as that describe my lowly level and his stature is the Munajat of Imam Ali and the Du'a Adila. These 2 du'as beautifully contrast the 2 levels between the Creator and the created. So as I go around for my second circle, I'll be contrasting his majesty with my lowliness in a language that I'm comfortable with. The third round is the R. R for rejoicing. What am I going to rejoice? I'm going to rejoice of all the blessings that he has given me so far. And equally more important, the blessings he has not given me. Because those are obviously what is good for me. And in his wisdom, he has decided not to give me those blessings. In simple word, perhaps we are saying, Alhamdulillah. We are rejoicing at all the ones he has given me and the ones he has not given me. For example, life, health, skill, family, friends, community, citizenship. These are all blessings that I sometimes take for granted. Unless it is taken away, maybe I do not realize his abundant blessings. Secondly, I'm going to rejoice at 2 special feelings. The first feeling is the feeling of love he created in me to believe in Allah. There are many on this planet who do not believe in Allah, and it is his extra blessing that he has instilled in my heart to have belief in him. I am also rejoicing at the feeling He has instilled in my heart for the love of the Prophet. Equally, there are many who do not have any liking or love for the Prophet. But with His blessing, He has installed in me that love not only for the Prophet, but also for the Prophet's household. In round 4, for the C in circles, as I go around, I'll be looking at cleansing my soul. There are many layers of sin. And as I go around cleansing, I'll be asking that my soul is kept clean by conviction and to be kept away from distraction, particularly after the rituals of Hajj. And as I go around, the only way to cleanse my soul is by repenting. And it is repentance which is the first stage of cleansing my soul. The 5th round is the L, which is lamenting. Repentance is only genuine if I truly lament of what I have done. I need to feel sorry. A hadith from the Prophet and his household have clearly said, the first stage in repenting is to feel sorry, is to lament, to feel guilty of what I have done. Simply saying sorry is not lamenting. It is not repenting. I need to sincerely, truly, genuinely feel sorry and feel bad on what I have done, and that will then be my first stage. In the 6th round, the E in the circle is for energizing. Now that I have lamented, I need the energy to change my lifestyle, to reform my lifestyle when I leave the rituals of Hajj. I need to energize myself to avoid the distractions that are going to come to me. And I need to energize, not to repeat any old sins or initiate any new ones. And in the final round, the S is for supplicating. It is my last final round in this tawaf, in this circumambulation. I'll be supplicating for the granting of my lawful wishes and for His blessings. But first of all, I need the supplication for my parents, the living and those who have passed away. I'll be supplicating for the absent ones who for one reason or another could not be with me on these rituals of Hajj. And I'll be supplicating for my family and friends. And lastly, I'll be supplicating for myself. So it is this tawaf, the circumambulation, as I go around 7 times in circles, anti-clockwise around the Kaaba. The C is for calling His attributes. I is for identifying my transgressions. R is for rejoicings in His blessings. C is for cleansing my soul. L is for lamenting my sins. E is for energizing my reformed lifestyle. And in the final round, the S is for supplicating for my wishes. The question that is often asked is why circumambulate 7 times? We do know for sure that since the time of Prophet Adam right through, the circumambulation has been 7 times. There is nothing written or from the hadith which explains why 7. But there are many observations we come across that we do things 7 times. And perhaps, and this is a speculation, that they are somehow connected. Let us look at the first observation. We circumambulating 7 times. It is a movement which is circular around the Kaaba. And it is only complete when it is done 7 times, each a full circle of 360 degrees. So the tawaf is a circular movement of 7 circles. Let us look at salah. A unit of salah is a vertical movement. Once we stood up, when we go to ruku, that is the first movement. And then we stand up again, that is the second movement. We go into sujood, that's the third movement. We sit up, that's the fourth movement. We go into second sujood, that's the 5th movement. We sit up, that's the 6th movement. And then we stand up for the 2nd unit, that's the 7th movement. So we see in Salah, one unit has got 7 vertical movements. When we go to the ritual of Sa'i, which is walking from the 2 mountains of Safa and Marwa, we do that again 7 times in a linear movement. From Safa to Marwa is the 1st movement, from Marwa to Safa is the 2nd movement, and we repeat that linear movement 7 times. Fourthly, when we go to sujood in sajda, we are now in the horizontal movement, in the horizontal plane. And what parts touches the ground? It is 7 parts again. The forehead, the 2 palms, the 2 knees, and the 2 big toes. So we see the 7 coming up again here. One of the rituals of Hajj is in Minna, where we throw pebbles at the 3 walls symbolizing the shaitan. How many pebbles do we throw and how many times? Each time we throw 7 pebbles, and we are required to do this 7 times. So 7 pebbles, 7 times. The number 7 comes up again. Sixthly, in the Quran, in Surah Al-Hijr, Surah 15, verse 44. In Surah Al-Baqarah, Surah 2, verse 29, we are told again that there are 7 skies. When the Prophet went for Mi'raj in the heavenly ascension, he ascended through 7 skies. So the number 7 comes up again. Again in the Quran, in Surah An-Naba'ah, Surah 78, chapter 12, we are told there are 7 skies that are constructed. So we see the number 7 is associated with the skies also. The 7th observation is Quran itself. The first surah is supposed to be the abstract, the summary of the whole Quran. But that first surah is very, very short. Surah Al-Fatiha. And how many verses does it contain? 7 again. 8th, the most fundamental declaration of faith of a Muslim is the kalima. How many words is the kalima? La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. 7 words again. When we go into the grave, the 9th observation, we are required to give 7 answers to the 2 angels Munkar and Nakir. Answers to the question, who is your Lord? What is your book? Where is your Qibla? What is your faith? Who is your prophet? Who are your imams? And who are your intercessors? Again, 7 answers that will be required. The 10th observation, the journey from the present to the hereafter also occur in 7 stages. Firstly, the death itself, the questioning in the grave, the intermediate world, the resurrection, the accounting, the weighing up of scales, and the crossing of the bridges. 7 stages to go over to the other side. The 11th observation, the first part of Hajj is what's called Umrah Tamattu. How many stages are involved? Ihram, Talabiyya, Tawaf, Salah, Safa, Marwa, and Taqsir. 7 stages again. The second ritual part of Hajj is Hajj Tamattu. How many stages involved again? Ihram, Talabiyya, Arafah, Muzdalifah, Minna, Halak, and Qurbani. 7 again. So we see this number 7 as observations which have got holy meanings and holy ritual, and they all seem somehow to be connected to bring us closer to Allah. The next stage of the rituals in Hajj is called the Station of Ibrahim, Maqam Ibrahim. And this has to be performed immediately after finishing the Tawaf, the 7 circles. So can I recite this Salah anywhere? And the answer is no. it has to be reside at a particular place behind what is called the Station of Ibrahim. Just to the east of the wall of Kaaba is a little station there which is called the Station of Ibrahim. And this is the spot where exactly Prophet Ibrahim stood to perform his ritual of Salah. And it's exactly the same spot that the Prophet stood when he did his last Hajj to show us how it's done. During the circumambulation in Tawaf, we communicated with Allah in our own way, in our own language, in our own words. But now it changes. Immediately afterwards, Allah is now telling us, you will now communicate with me in my way. In Quran, chapter 2, Surah Al-Baqarah, the cow, verse 1 to 5 in part says, and take the station of Ibrahim as a place of prayer. So the command is now very clear. You have to offer the salah, the prayer, at the station of Ibrahim. And now Allah is commanding me, you will communicate with me in the way I want to, in the language that I choose, in the words of my fixing, and at the place of my fixing. And this has to be in Arabic, and it is the normal 2 units of salah. We have to follow the rituals of salah. But what is the spirit behind it? The spirit is, I could have prayed anywhere around the Kaaba, but God has commanded me to pray at a particular spot. The spirit here is discipline and submission. Because He has commanded me, I have to submit. He's asked me to speak that communication in a particular language. That is what it shall be. In a particular way, that is what it has to be. So therefore, it shows my submission to His command. And it is that spirit that I now have to take away with me after Hajj. When I am praying there during Hajj, in front of the Kaaba, there are thousands of people who are moving around, who are also saying Salah. But when I am saying the Salah, I am oblivious to all those people. My focus is laser focused on Allah. And in front of me, all I see is the Kaaba. It is that spirit that I need to take away from Hajj. When I perform my daily Salah 5 times a day for the rest of my life, I need to have that picture behind the Station of Ibrahim every time. Because when I was there, all those thousands of people I did not notice. All I was focused on was the Kaaba. People might have jostled me, people might have pushed me. I neither felt them, neither was my Salah interrupted. And it is that spirit of discipline, laser sharp focus on Allah, that I need to take with me after the Hajj. The ritual following the Salah at the Station of Ibrahim is something called Sa'i. Sa'i in Arabic, it means effort, to try. Sa'i now is within the compound of the Haram itself, within the courtyard. It is covered under a roof. But in the old days, it used to be in the open sky. These are the 2 mountains on each side. On one side is called the Safa, the other side is called the Marwa. These mountains were there from the old times, and they were certainly there during the time of the Prophet, His Holiness himself. In fact, one of the ways the people of Makkah used to send out public announcement, public communication, was somebody would go on top of the mountain of Safa and make the announcement. 43 years after his birth, the Prophet also stood on this mountain of Safa to make his first public announcement. And he stood on this mountain and he told the people, "O people of Makkah, if I were to tell you that on the other side of this mountain of Safa there is an invading army, would you believe me?" And all the people of Makkah said, "Yes, Ya Muhammad," as they used to call him then. "Why would we not believe you?" You have never lied to us so far. You are the truthful, you are the trusted one. So now the Prophet tells them, I tell you that there is no God but Allah, and I am His messenger. Would you believe me now? So this mountain of Safa has got a particular significance. It is the first call of the Prophet. And it is a ritual we are supposed to walk 7 times. First from Safa to Marwa, and then back, which is the second run, and then back to Marwa, the third run, and we do it 7 times. So we start at Safa for the first run, and we end up at Marwa for the 7th run. The distance between these 2 mountains is just under 400 meters. A meter is approximately 1 step for an average person. It's exactly 395 meters between the 2 mountains. Some reports say it is 450 meters. It depends where you start measuring the distance from. But now the mountains of Safa and Marwa are now covered with a plastic sheet. So you may not be actually able to sit on the mountain, but you can certainly see it. So what is the ritual behind it? The ritual behind Sa'i is to replicate the action of Lady Hajar, the second wife of Prophet Ibrahim, the mother of Ismail. Now there are 3 versions recorded as to why Lady Hajar went or ran between these 2 mountains. The first version says is that she had a baby Ismail and he was thirsty. And this valley had no vegetation, had no oases of water. So she was looking for water for her baby. So she saw a mirage. Now whenever in hot countries, you at a distance you can see a mirage. And this occurs from the laws of physics because of the refractive index. When the air, the atmosphere hits the hot ground, it reflects back. But when it reflects back, it touches the cool atmosphere. And that refraction is what you see as a little strip, as a little pool, as a little oasis of water. It happens in all parts of the world wherever there is a hot surface and cool air, particularly in the desert. So one version says Lady Hajar sees a mirage from Safa towards Marwa, so she runs towards it. But because it is a mirage, when you get near, there is no actual water. From Marwa, when she looks back at Safa, she sees a mirage again. So she runs for the second time back to Safa. And this happens 7 times. It's only after the 7th run that she now stops. So that is the first version. The second version says no, there was no looking at a mirage. She was actually looking for water. And she was running between the 2 mountains, looking on the sides of the 2 sides to see if there is any oasis of water. The third version says no, it's neither of those 2. She was actually calling out for help as she was running between the 2 mountains to see if anybody is around who might have water. Regardless of which version it was, she certainly ran and walked between those 2 mountains. And that's the action that we are replicating doing this ritual. So what is the spirit behind it? Why do we also enact the same ritual going around 7 times between these 2 mountains? And the spirit behind it is to say this: for any intention that we have, intention in itself is not sufficient. Intention has to be followed by an action. Lady Hajar had the intention of getting water. She just did not sit by the mountain and said, "Oh Allah, get me water." She followed the intention with an action. She put an effort into it. So the spirit behind is today, when I want something, it's no good just wishing for it. I have got to put an effort to it. You get students who say, "I want to pass the exam." Yes. That is the intention. To pass the exam, I have to put an effort, I have to revise. And you get people telling you, when you go to Hajj, pray for me that I pass the exam. And I always tell them, the only way to pass the exam is yes with prayers, but the action of revision have to go together. Intention and action. A person who is ill, it's no good just praying to Allah, make me better. Yes, we would pray to Allah, but without going to a medical physician, without getting any medications, we would not get better. It is the intention of getting better with the effort of action of getting medication that the two of them will actually give me a result. Sa'i represents a very important aspect after Hajj. Sa'i is about effort for about getting water. In spirit, it is about earning my livelihood. I will not earn my livelihood simply by staying at home. I have to commute. And those of us who live in big cities in developed countries, commuting is a fact of life. We do it twice a day, crowded conditions, through the freezing weather and through the scorching summers. Commuting is nothing but Sa'i, and that is the spirit I take after Hajj. Sa'i is commuting from my place of home to work, earn a lawful livelihood, and then come back to home. And I do that in order to get closer to Allah. During this process of Sa'i, there's a particular section which is called the Harwala. This is the ritual where instead of just walking, we trot, we go into a gentle jog. And the spirit behind this is this. Allah has promised us life will not always be comfortable, it will not always be gentle. There will be a trotting in life that will have to be done. There will be a hiccup. There will be a difficulty in which we have to run. Allah has promised us that He will test us with something of fear, with something of hunger, with the loss of our loved ones, with the loss of wealth, even with the loss of our lives. This process of the ritual of Harwala is precisely to prepare us for the test to come, in that life will not be comfortable all the time. There will be a difficulty. Through one of these tests, either fear, hunger, loss of lives, loss of wealth, or loss of loved ones, we will have to face them and get on with life in order to get closer to Allah.
لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك الملك لا